everybody and welcome to Rugby News, and on today's episode we will be talking about Saracens and the salary cap and how they didn't turn up for the European Rugby launch. Scotland Rugby have been fined £70,000 for their actions over World Rugby at the World Cup when Typhoon Hagibis was around, and we've had another retirement on our books with Dylan Hartley retiring for a leg injury. So let's get into it. So the first bit of news to talk about, and it's the biggest news of the week really, it's Saracens and the salary cap issue, and it's just misery piling on misery at the moment for Saracens, isn't it? A couple of days ago I uploaded a video, if you've watched it you know. Saracens obviously have the massive fine, the £5 million fine and the 35-point deduction for breaching salary cap rules, but it didn't get better because the day after the European Rugby launch, every team has a contractual obligation to have a coach representative and a player representative to go over there and represent the club, and no one from Sarries turned up. Now this is news because it looks like they'll be getting another fine for this. European Rugby released a statement saying that they were deeply disappointed that Saracens didn't turn up, and they were looking at consequences for these actions. So yeah, it looks like they're going to get a fine for that, and my initial reaction to it was partially a bit off and on. Like, you can see why they wouldn't go, because they'd just be bombarded with media and they've got their rivals around them the day after they've been slapped with this penalty. But they should have still done the right thing and gone, because it doesn't look good on them that they didn't turn up, and it just makes it look like that they've done something bad here, and which they have, breaking the salary cap rules, but it just makes it look more obvious that they've done that. On the same day as well, nothing to do with the European launch, Nigel Ray released a video on the Saracens Twitter page saying how he felt about the decision. He said that it was a bit heavy-handed, that he was just co-investing and there was nothing in the salary cap rules to do with co-investing. He was saying that he didn't mean to cause any effects of this, and that it was just co-investment, and in quotes he said investment isn't salary, and that it wasn't in the rules, so they shouldn't be fined for co-investing. He has said that he made some administrative errors though, and for that he has apologised for, which at least he realises there has been an error there, and he has apologised. But it looks like this whole debacle is going to go on for a while longer more, because it doesn't look like it's going to get fixed. It's obviously going to go to court, and for me it looks like he's found a loophole around the rule book of the salary cap, saying that it's investment and not salary. So we'll see where it goes from this. Of course, keep updated with the channel. I will keep posting updates on this issue with Saracens. But yeah, that's what's going on at the moment. They missed, or well, just didn't turn up for the European launch. Looks like they're getting a fine for that. And Nigel Ray saying what he did in that video on Saracens' Twitter page. The next bit of news, it's another fine. It's a very busy week in terms of rugby news this week, with a lot of fines being thrown around. This time Scottish Rugby have had one, £70,000 fine for causing a lot of debate and, well, basically saying that they would threaten legal action on World Rugby if their game between them and Japan didn't go ahead due to Typhoon Hagibis at the World Cup. They have now been fined for their actions for saying that. £70,000, as I've said, that's what the fine is. And I don't really know how to react to this, really. I can see why they've got the fine, because the way they went about it, the way they said that they'd threaten legal action, it didn't really look like that they were caring about the safety of anyone, the safety of their players, the safety of the Japanese fans, safety of their fans, and everyone in Japan as a whole. You could sense that they didn't really look at that, and they didn't really care for the safety part, which of course you have to do. Really, I think it's a right decision from World Rugby, because if the game was called off, then they would have threatened legal action. And yeah, for me, the Scots overreacted to this. Really, back at the World Cup, when it was announced that games could get cancelled, they really overreacted. They didn't show a side to them which cared about safety and the health of the people around Japan in what was such a big typhoon and storm at the time, and was in risk of life. So I can see why they've got this fine, and overall I think it really is a correct decision on World Rugby's part. Well, I haven't seen how Scottish Rugby have responded. I think they said they'll look into it. I think they're going to have to pay the fine. I don't think there's any way around them not going to do that. So they're going to have to do it. 70,000 won't really break much for them. But yeah, they won't be very happy with the news. But it will be interesting to hear what other Scottish fans have to say on the news. So if you're a Scottish fan, what do you think about this fine? I'd like to know what you think. And the final bit of news that's come out this week, we've had a lot of high-end retirements over the course of the last couple of weeks, of course. Coming to the end of World Cups, players are going to start retiring. Of course, we had Rory Best, who retired, the likes of Will Genia and David Pocock, who retired after the World Cup as well. But we have a retirement, a player who wasn't in the World Cup because of injury, who could have easily got there. Dylan Hartley, a brilliant player, the Saints hooker, of course former England captain as well, that sent England to 2 Six Nation victories under the Eddie Jones era and a Grand Slam. He has unfortunately had to retire early due to his injuries. Now, back in December last year, he got a serious knee injury, and he hasn't been back since. He got ruled out of the World Cup, ruled out of this year's Six Nations as well. And deep in my head, I was thinking, he's had a lot of injuries lately. Surely he can't go on for much longer. And unfortunately, he isn't going on for much longer. He is calling it a day. But you've got to say, he has had a glittering career. He has won a lot in his time. He won the Premiership, won the Challenge Cup for Saints. He won 2 Six Nations, one of them being a Grand Slam as a captain for England. And all of these, he's been such a great player. He's had his bad moments in the games, you know, where he's had those bans and all of that. But all round, he's a great player and a great guy. And I wish him the best for the future. And yeah, he is a big loss to the rugby world. I did hear a couple of days ago, before the news was announced, that there were rumours going around that Saints were in talks with him to end his career and to retire, because there was no way he was going to get back, and if he did, he wouldn't be at his full best and he'd be risking even worse injuries going forward. So really, I think it's the right decision. We don't want anyone getting seriously hurt in the long term. And yeah, as I said, I wish him the best for the future. So yeah, that is it for rugby news. Thank you all for watching. I may have missed something this week, but it's been a big week in terms of rugby, so you know, you shouldn't blame me for missing any big news out. I would like to hear from Scottish fans, so if you're a Scottish fan, put your comments down below on what you think about the fine. And any other fans, if you want to get in contact as well, put down in your comments below what you think of these news stories going around this week. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully this will be a weekly series, but I'm not very good at schedule keeping, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Give a like, please subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in a bit.